Anyway, we'll just do a sort of sample crate for this thing, our priceless acorn squash plaster model that we're going to ship somewhere. So, two concerns. One is that the crate be sturdy enough so that it doesn't get damaged during shipping or doesn't, get perforated or punched through. A lot of times these things are getting picked up by forklifts, and sometimes they're not so good with their aim with the forks. So if they hit something, they might actually puncture it and go through. In a show a few years back, someone shipped a piece of furniture in double boxed in cardboard, but it had a nice punch right through the box where clearly something had rammed into it and actually hit the piece of furniture too. So cardboard boxes might be okay for smaller things, but definitely not for larger things. So that's why we do a crate. So sturdiness of the crate and then stability of the contents. You don't want this just rattling around in there, right? It's not going to bode well. So we'll walk this one through, and then I'll just go through a couple general rules as well. For smaller or medium-sized crates, I would use 1/4-inch plywood, something like what you see here, that 1/4-inch, and then 3/4 by maybe 2-inch of this framing material. As your crates get bigger, I've seen them. Obviously, you scale everything up a little bit. We were talking about 1/2 inch for yours. Big crates with big artwork, might be a 3/4-inch plywood and 2x4s as the framing, just because you need that for that kind of size. So anyway, you just scale things up accordingly as you need. All right, so first thing we're going to do is wrap up our precious object in a protective layer. So in this case, bubble wrap. But I've used, when I've shipped furniture, I've used packing quilts. Cloth diapers are nice. You probably ship paintings, right? Or other things.
Yeah.
What do you wrap in?
I've cut the foam to I guess I had one point where I was submitting drawings that weren't framed.
Yeah.
So I recessed out foam, so I built kind of like you did with that with foam within the box.
Okay.
And then I wrapped the drawings so they were floating in this square space within there.
Yeah.
And then I did huge amounts of foam around it, so it was 4 inches of smash space, I guess.
Yes, yes. So for something that scale, that makes a lot of sense. So this one, this has been wrapped and unwrapped so many times, we'll just sort of say this is good. Which it probably would be. We're going to really pack it in there tight. So on the handout, did you guys get a handout?
Sure did.
Why don't you grab one that you can follow along a little bit.
Okay. Oh, thanks.
All right, so we're finally to step one. We've wrapped our object in a protective layer, and take your dimensions of this thing just to get an idea of where we're going to start for sizing our crate. So when I measured this earlier, it was about 10 and a half, and that still looks about right, by 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 as well. So you want to take those dimensions, add them to whatever thickness of foam we're going to use for the walls of the crate. So again, smaller objects use maybe 1 inch, or this is 1.5 inch foam. Larger ones, you want to bump that up. It's just another protective layer. So if we add our 3 dimensions to, essentially we're going to have 3 inches of foam, right? 1.5 inches on each side. That's how we get our interior dimensions of the crate. And that's what's critical, is the interior dimensions. So what does it say next? Draw a picture of your crate. So, do you guys have that part of the handout? Is that on the flip side? Okay, cool. So, step 3, just making a sketch of your crate, taking into account the thickness of your plywood and the thickness of your framing material. So this is going to vary for whatever size crate you're doing. We were talking about 1/2-inch plywood with 3/4-inch framing, so that made 1 1/4
Yep.
of crate thickness, of that wall thickness. So when you sketch this out, you just want to accommodate those dimensions. So there's no kind of magic way of doing it, because you're going to have some parts that overlap others. So the best way to do it is just to sketch it out, just keeping in mind your interior dimensions that you figured out. So, cut or have cut your 6 plywood pieces to size. If you guys were making a crate here on campus, just come find me and we can actually cut these pieces. If you buy some framing material, we can cut those. And we want to get your plywood cut to the exact size you want, and then we'll just cut framing material to fit it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mine are pretty good because I have some issues with craftsmanship that have to be perfect. But so even little gaps like that, we don't really care, right? Because it's still going to be plenty strong. So cut or have cut your plywood. We did that. Cut your 1x3 framing, and we want to glue and clamp it to your plywood, so you end up with pieces that look like that. And then finally pre-drill your screw holes. I say every 10 inches here, but it also, that depends on the size of your crate. So like these, that's not every 10 inches, this is every 4 inches or something like that. And then finally, screw and glue all sides together except for the top, because obviously you need the people you're shipping to open it up and take your sculpture out of there. So let's do that. We'll put this guy together. I don't glue it together because we take this apart each semester for a demo. So, but we'll do that, and then we'll fit the rest of the pieces. So we'll put our priceless object there. We need 2 sides, and, well, 4 sides, that would be better. And I've labeled these so that they can be put back together. And I just need D here. So everything's pre-drilled and countersunk. So that's that little kind of cone-shaped indentation so that your screw heads don't stick out.
Now, over time, shipping these crates and everything, do you have the lids deteriorate by being screwed and unscrewed so many times that you need to build a new lid? Or
No, I've never had that problem. I'm using long enough screws where,
you could just keep drilling
Yeah.
and it'll be fine.
yeah.
Cool.
Why is
Unless-
the smooth part go on the inside?
Say that again?
Why is the smooth part of the box go on the inside?
Oh,
The frame part.
you know, you could do it either way. I don't think it would really matter for strength. I've only seen crates made
Okay.
with the framing on the outside. Probably the frame is going to be a little tougher than the plywood.
Oh, all right,
so
so
that
that'll
would be a
get bumped
reason.
first and stuff too.
Yep. Exactly.
And surface area might, like if it was on the inside, it would take up more space. Like,
That's true.
in terms of, like if you're,
Sort of.
or,
I mean,
it
you
takes
have to
up space.
account for some of that empty space
Right,
with your packing material.
right.
Right, and, yeah.
That's true.
Taking away some of those handles too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. It's easier to grab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Somebody figured it out at one point.
It sure wasn't me.
Maybe I'm thinking about, I've accidentally made things like where I'm like, I'm gonna use the whole stock size. So I have like a 4x8 thing, so to build a crate for it, that interior space I need as much as I can, and I'd have to build larger than stock sheets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Wade's handle theory.
Yeah, I think that's right on.
This made me think of when I was in Africa, shipping back all these artifacts. They had a lot of mahogany, so they used mahogany
Oh, that's
crates.
cool.
Really?
Yeah, you would have liked it, except it sat for a month in water in New York, and it's gone.
In water where?
In New York.
Why?
I don't know, it was in the
Wow.
storage area, they got flooded or
Yeah.
something, they just, probably somebody, they just didn't get turn out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did the contents get ruined?
Oh, yeah, some of it. I mean, I got stuff back, but a lot of it was ruined.
Yeah. Can't trust those showers. Okay, that looks good. We've got all our screws in there. Let's put the bottom on. It's this one.
You want to glue that just so people don't take off the wrong side.
That, and it'll be stronger.
Right.
Yep. I always assume that the shipper is
Mm-hmm.
dumb, and whoever's unloading your package and pulling stuff up is dumb, so you want to just make it as
Dumb-proof.
dumb-proof as possible. Exactly. Okay, so I cut these to size. So this is my bottom. Get down in there. I've also marked the inside of my crate. I have a little X there and a little X there, so that I mean, this is all kind of rough cut, so I know when I put it back together that it is indeed gonna fit. And same things with these guys.
Did you say where you buy this stuff, like that styrofoam?
Oh, all of this is from Home Depot.
Okay.
So this is just pink insulation foam.
Mhm.
Works perfectly fine. There's this one next. And then these 1x material, you can buy, they call them furring strips that are already about 1x3. And so you don't have to necessarily machine them to their width, you just cut them to length.
And that's the outside or the?
Yeah, that's the framing stuff.
It's called furring?
Furring strips,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah, they're usually a little bit lower quality material,
Yeah,
but
but they have square edges, so that's like if they were
well,
cut or
I
no?
think they might have a little bit of a radius on them, but
Oh,
it
they
doesn't
do?
matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it won't matter at all. Okay, so let's see. Take your object and hopefully with any luck it'll fit in there nice and snug.
Is that a different object than you used? It looks bigger, no,
No.
just a
it's the
different
same
angle.
one. I think the bubble wrapping is getting more kind of disorganized. Okay, so that should be snug. This should, your top piece, when you put that on there, that should be snug as soon as you put your cap on. So let's do that. We'll line up. This is always going to get shipped back, so you want to just put in some little markers for whoever's repacking. So that's a little line.
Oh,
over
so the
this.
screw holes line up.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Can I just be really curious, and will you show us the inside of the box before you screw it close?
What do you mean?
Like, I want to see inside.
Which part? Like
Just,
that?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
She just wanted
So-
it for the camera.
Ah. Right.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
nothing too fancy.
Weren't you guys curious?
You've seen it.
Boring.
All right. So, what are some improvements that we could do beyond this to make it easier for anybody involved?
Put stickers on the bottom so that they can run the forklift under it.
You could put actual, if it's a huge thing.
Oh,
Right.
I mean, that's how machinery gets shipped.
like
so.
slots.
Just like little 2x4s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to help them,
That makes sense.
get it off the ground so they can get the forks underneath.
Do you have
That's
any, do you have any
improvement.
nightmare stories about how, what you've learned, or even with these things that you,
I've had pretty good luck, but I've also been lucky. The only time I had to ship some furniture, they actually had an art handling company come
yeah,
to the
that's what I was
door.
wondering, how
And
trained at the other end.
That was really great. I know, FedEx and UPS, I've heard horror stories.
Mhm.
That's mostly though with boxes, with cardboard boxes.
Of course, they don't make them like Michael makes them.
Right. So, obviously the red marks are the screws that you want to be able to come in and out. That's what that's trying to indicate. You want to mark up around all the sides so that if someone does care enough to keep it upright, it shouldn't matter, right? It only really matters that it be upright when you unload it.
Right.
And then other improvements, if it's kind of a two-person thing to carry, you could actually put a handle, or they make those metal, I don't know what they put them on, but little metal handles you can screw on there so one person can grab one.
Like drawers, probably.
Yeah,
Or
kind of drawer pulls, yeah. Other improvements, you could actually glue the foam to the parts of the inside of the crate so that if they're repacking it, there's no mystery.
Or they wouldn't like lose one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what other improvements? I don't know, you could theoretically take all the screws out except for these if it was glued together, but I think that's maybe not a good idea. You could plug them. Trying to think of ways that you can eliminate the end user from taking those screws apart.
What about storage when you get it back, and where do you do with these?
Oh, I put them in the garage and let them sit for
But all
years and years.
assembled?
The ones I made were glued together, so yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So make a stack of them or something?
So maybe that's a consideration. If you didn't glue it, you could certainly take it apart and have it smaller.
Some of coffee tables, side
Yeah,
tables.
Yeah. right.
Work tables,
Dinner tables.
bed frames.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Entertainment center.
Yeah.
Well, and John makes them, they're pieces of furniture.
Right.
Yeah, right. All right, any questions? So again, if you are gonna ship something 3D, just come get me and I can help you plan it out. And
What circumstances would you say it would be really appropriate to ship something?
what do you mean?
Say you're already applying to you got heavy pieces, you're applying to show, say in Florida. You got a $50 submission fee or application fee, and you get in. Do you usually end up driving stuff, or do you end up shipping things?
Oh, I do think about those things. If it's a show that I think is important enough, then sure, I would ship it. I probably wouldn't drive it. It's not worth my time these
Yeah,
days.
the time's worth more.
And it might be a couple $100 or more to ship, but
Do you have smaller objects, or do you obviously select the size to what show and the importance of that show?
yes.
Within even
Yes.
consideration, because at first I was just throwing out,
Right.
submissions. Then I suddenly got in. I'm
Yeah,
crap.
now you have to
Yeah, now I
move
need to
this
do
thing.
this.
Because Brian does a lot of driving, doesn't he? Nelson?
He used to do more, but he's done a fair amount, I know.
Shipping too?
Not so much shipping, because his
Yeah.
work is heavy.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So he doesn't do much of that. But, yeah, that's all a consideration.
Mhm.
I've
Do
had
you-
friends that while we were in school, they drove people's art.
Mm.
So like a
Yeah.
bunch of us would get
Huh.
together and then we'd either like volunteer our time or get thrown like $50 to like just lift
Yeah.
the thing into a truck.
Yeah.
And then art students would like be paid to deliver the work for a more well-known artist.
That'd be
Or-
cool.
Or when you don't get a job as an artist, then you can, there's
Yeah.
other things you can do, see?
Art
Drive
writing.
art.
Shooting high.
Art
Yeah.
handling. Huh. It's like Uber for
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to understand how to like gauge that
Yeah,
decision making between.
I guess never enter something you're not willing to
Right.
follow through with getting it there.
Yeah, no.
But
That exists.
And some exhibitions will, like I just did a show in Canada and they actually
They pay
give
for it.
artists an honorarium.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I didn't submit, I purposely didn't submit the large heavy pieces
Right.
because even though it's not far to get it there, I knew that that would be expensive, more so than the honorarium they were giving me.
Yep.
So,
You have to kind of look for that now, like, yeah.
yeah, and then they were like, well, we love that 4x8 light box.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, it's not available, and you can be like, it's not available mainly because I can't afford to bring it to
Right,
you,
right.
but you just can be simple about that. like,
Yep, and not do
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
where it makes it seem like a broke bone,
yeah,
like me.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
like all of us.
Yeah, that's not available right now.
unless they want us to send a truck and
And
Right.
come get
load
it.
it up and, yeah.
Usually they'll be like, can you bring that here?
Because they don't have any money either.
Right.
Exactly.
I have a
Cool.
question.
Yeah.
So I think this box is good, but it's very heavy. Can we make something out of lighter thing, like
That's the 2D thing.
cardboard
Oh,
or
well,
Well, there's always a danger. I mean, I think you can if it's of a smaller size and you pack it right. As they get bigger, cardboard not going to be so good.
did you go to Michael's? Michael's doing the 2D thing. He's doing cardboard boxes for that, and he's scheduled to do one too. But for something heavy like this, that wouldn't work.
Heavy and big, you gotta create it.
Or paper things, and you can.
yeah, I have some papers. They are big but not heavy.
Yeah.
So maybe
So come to that
Yeah.
talk too.
Yeah.
I tried building a cardboard box for that one really quick on Wednesday night, and again, just wasn't for me, and took up more space than it was actually protecting, and
Yeah.
wasn't worth it at
Yeah.
all.
And your forklift description was good. Like, I don't know if you heard that part. Like, when these boxes are getting moved, like, in shipping, like, in the warehouses, they're usually on these forklifts that, like, can smash into everything. So, like, I have a truck, and I help my friend move these logs, and the guy had the bulldozer to put the log in my truck, and, like, miscalculated because he's far away, and he just, like, went, like, chunk, like on my truck. So now there's like this like
Oh.
big gash in it, and that's a metal truck. So you're drawing like that weight of that thin, like that's not that big of a deal considering how quickly your drawing could get smashed or like your vellum stuff.
yeah, you're right.
So one other thing we didn't talk about, but if it's very strangely shaped, like yours is kind of that piece we were looking at was strangely shaped. We were talking about making some little tabs to literally screw it down to the base of the crate, and then kind of carefully packing foam around it. But that can be,
Stabilizing it so it
yeah.
wouldn't shake. But then that would be super important to have those upsides and keep this side up. You can
Yes.
flip that upside down, and if it's just hanging by,
you still want to pack it to accommodate
Right.
if that were to happen. But
yeah,
yeah.
see, probably would happen.
Same with furniture. Like I usually make, you know, if I have foam in there, I might cut out little holes for each of 4 legs of a chair that sit in there. And then same thing if the top of the chair, you know, maybe I'll cut some foam out so that fits exactly.
Just right in.
Yeah. So then you can get away without having to, you know, completely pack it with foam if in the right spots it's packed tightly. So.
Have you seen how FedEx, they now have like to ship computers, but now they use this for their art shipping too? It's like the egg foam that's like, there used to be like mattress pads made out of egg foam.
Yeah.
And it's like so they do use cardboard,
Okay.
and then there's like this whole encasing of the egg foam, and I wonder, do you think that's more absorbent to like if it's hit than the pink foam, or would you say the pink foam is better because of its sturdiness?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's
That's cushion, right? So if
Right.
it got dropped, certainly it doesn't. It's not jarring on the
Right.
contact tents. But so this is not really cushioning. The only thing cushioning
Right.
is your
the foam, or I mean the
yeah,
bubbles,
bubble
wrap, yeah.
exactly. So I mean, it sounds great for computers or art that's of that size.
Yeah, like if the frame's gonna chip easily or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect. I think for every situation, there's probably the right
Getting.
thing. Yeah. So.
So would you ever add a layer of that egg foam on top, like within the pink foam? Like if there's a one more, or do you think that is like just excessive because it's so deep into it?
I think it could be fine. It's probably a good idea as long as it doesn't allow anything to ravel.
Right.
It has to be tight.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably better.
You could even glue it to the pink foam.
Yeah.
Exactly where you need it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you measured out your width accommodating
Right.
for that extra amount of foam.
Yeah.
I think just the notion of having something cushy
Right.
and something rigid
Right.
is more crucial for this, so that it's protected and it doesn't move around. But
Makes sense.
yeah, whatever that cushy is, that sounds like that other foam could be perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Alrighty,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
That was
sure.
awesome.
no problem. Be back next semester.